If God feels that time, matter and energy are equally valued, then why is there this pressure about time, like this pressure of time, more so than anything else?
Yeah, good question, huh? Yeah. It's a really simple answer. Because humans made it so. How have we made it so? Well, what we've done is we firstly, as you've seen from our soul discussion in a previous example with life principles, what we've done is we're restricting our life by restricting the amount of time we have in our life, particularly in a physical sense, by restricting our longevity. And how are we restricting our longevity? By restricting our emotions. We finish up restricting our longevity. And here I'm talking about when we have a whole set of emotions that are out of harmony with truth and love, we are now restricting our longevity. As a subsequent result of restricting of our longevity, we automatically have less time.
And it's also because of we're so afraid of death and we think the physical life is just the only life.
Correct. As a result of having less time and believing this falsity that we believe, which is that there is no such thing as a future life, we now feel that we're restricted to creating within 70 or 80 years. But the only trouble with the 70 or 80 or 90 years is the last 20 are not too comfortable. So what we've got to do is try to get them in 60 or 50 years. Does that make sense? And then we found that the first 20 we pretty much wasted. Right? So now what we've got is from 20 years to 50 years. So really now we've only got 30 years to create. And so most of us in that 30-year period, we want to have children. We want to have a house. We want to have cars. We want to have security. We want to create. And see, can you see all the pressure it places on us? Of course it places huge amounts of pressure on us, but it's all pressure we created.
It's like we put it on ourselves.
We have to put it on ourselves. It's all pressure we created. So it's our responsibility for that creation. The reason why we have no time is because we created a life where there is barely any time. It's got nothing to do with what God created. God created your physical body to live thousands of years. Do you think you'd be worried about having children? You know, you'd get around to about 300 or 400 and say, maybe I should have some kids now, maybe, you know, like I've learned enough now to see what not to do and what to do. So now I'll have some, you know what I mean? And then you get to about 800 or 900, you go, oh, maybe I should have a house. You know, I've been nomadic now for a while, just a few hundred years, and maybe I should have a house and we can, you know, maybe you should have a place to stay. And then you go, why would I want a place to stay? I've spent 800 years without one. It doesn't make much sense. Can you see we'd also, use less resources as a result, because we're not in this panic to get in order to have an experience that we're just restricting all the time. And then on top of that, we'd have a lot more free emotional experiences. So we'd have time to think and time to feel and time to analyse and contemplate and to examine things, rather than being in such a panic that we do, and we've got no time left for anything of any major importance, right? And so you imagine if you had a few thousand years on Earth, by the time you got to a couple of thousand, you might say, oh, I've seen most places now, and I've lived around, and most of my friends are moving on to the spirit world now. You know, they're all left a few thousand years. You've got to know a fair few of them, obviously, and now you can move on yourself if you want to, but that might be a choice rather than a forced situation because of your emotional restrictions that you're placing on the recovery of your physical body. Does that make sense? So this is our problem, is we're often judging many things through the restricted viewpoint we have that we created. We created the very restrictions that we're now viewing things through.
Yeah, and so I often thought about it like with time. So God created night and day, but we created time. Is that?
Well, no, God created night and day because at night we go to sleep. And it's a recovery of your physical body. And then you get to spend all of your time in your sleep state to experience life there. So the one reason why God created it that way was so that you would learn about your next life before you leave this one. So, of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? Like, why would God just go, no, I'm not going to let you sleep. You're going to have to stay awake the whole time. You know, what's that saying? I'll sleep when I'm dead or whatever. And so that's the way God created everything. I'll sleep when I'm dead. But the problem is that I'd receive no education about my next life. And if I don't receive any education about my next life, is that very loving? Not very, is it? It's like all of a sudden uprooting a person after living here a few thousand years, shoving them in a new life, and they've got no idea where they are anymore, and no idea what's happening, no idea what's going to happen, and no idea how to control things, no idea how to do anything. That wouldn't be very loving, would it? So God created your sleep state that allows you to go to sleep, rest this body, experience things in your sleep state experience that you can learn about your life in the spirit world, so that when you do make that transition, you're home and hose. You reach a point of recollection. You go, now I know where I am. I've been here every day since I was born. Right? Isn't that wonderful? What a loving... But that's a part of God's economic creation too. He's educating you the most economical way by actually making 1/3 of your life what is going to be your new life after you've passed. Yeah, lovely. You got to admire him, eh? He's so lovable.